morning, everybody. How's everyone doing? Just checking on the volume. Is that okay? Test, test. See how we're doing here. As soon as I get a little feedback on how we sound and everything, we're going to move on. But just checking in. Good morning, stay at home dad. Good morning, Daryl. Whew. Good morning, Jeff. 3 feet of snow. Holy crow. Uh, we do not have that problem. It's just chilly here. I want to say it was like 19 degrees this morning here in Bull Shoals. We are going to talk about something. Uh, I have been looking online at boats for years, but just the other day, making the video about that new green Bass Tracker Limited. That's they're wanting $18,220 for, at least at the store in Branson. Is it time to buy used over new? Is the sweet spot over on these boats for new? There were some there were some comments made in the last video about, I don't understand the pricing of these boats. um, they're like, well, if you don't like that price, you should go in the store and check out those prices. Well, I have had both boats, have one. I understand the pricing very clearly. Uh, it's the deal here, though, is 18.2 is almost twice what I paid for the same boat, albeit a 40 horsepower instead of a 50, which we now know after several people have posted, it equates to about 4.5 miles an hour difference between the 10 and the 50, depending on what's in your boat. So we are looking right now. In a few minutes, I got it all queued up here. We're going to go look at, and I haven't looked at the boats. We're just going to scroll through. What I have is basically a 500-mile radius around my house in any direction of what's available in the Heritage, the Classic, and any of the limited models. So let's jump right into it here in a minute. Good morning, Steven. All right, here, you guys, we're going to go over here right now. All right. Oh, hey, if none of you guys are part of this group, feel free to go join. Good group of people, and maybe revitalize this group if you haven't. So, all right. Here we are. This is the first page. I went back to the oldest model, and it's the Bass Tracker Heritage. You can see I typed it here in the search bar, and right away we have one of them for sale. Let's just see how long it's been. 14 hours ago, this boat was listed in Bentonville. I'm not going to put the seller's information or their name on here. I'm not trying to sell their boat for them, but if you guys want to go on here and look, it's up to you. Carpet in this boat looks spotless. For the most part, it looks pretty damn good. This is a pretty unabused model. Less than 50 hours, it says. It's got that. Here, hold on. It does have this classic stain that no matter what you do, that stain will exist on this aluminum boat due to oxidization. Everything works. Have a Garmin graph. Other than that, this boat is extremely clean. Uh, it says he's been out a dozen times. I really doubt 50 hours then. If the, I mean, unless he actually knows, a dozen trips, 50 hours is a lot. That is a lot of hours. So I don't know about that. So this boat for 12 grand, I think it's still too high. I think it's a $10,000 boat right now, with no additional stuff other than a small Garmin graph. We got down here in Spring, Texas. Well, according to the listing, here we can listen to it. Let's listen to the motor. I'm gonna back this up for a second. I'm gonna give you guys a little volume. We got down here in Spring, Texas. Let's see what happens. I can't hear it, but you guys can. I'm sure it looks like it's peeing just fine. Water's flowing through it. 250 to 300 hours. That's a lot. It's not a lot, but it is a lot. I would say on a boat, on a 40 horse 4-stroke, anything under 1,000 hours is viable. As long as you put oil in it, it'll be good. 300 hours. That's a lot. This boat doesn't have a lot going on for it. It looks like they tried heavily to buff out that stain that we all talk about. 40 horse 4-stroke. But you know, the standard issue trolling motor, which in hindsight I agree with 100%. I will be making a video, the biggest mistake I ever made with my Heritage, but we'll get back to that. 10 grand. I think that boat's, if it has 300 hours on it, I think that boat should be 9 grand. Let's see. We're going to do a few more. I'm not going to get into a whole bunch. This one here's in Mississippi. It's got extremely low hours, and it was serviced yearly. Humminbird Helix 7. It's got the Bimini top. They're claiming very little usage. You can kind of tell. So across the back of the boat right here, on a heavily used boat, there's going to be a clear line of oxidization. You're going to see it. This boat obviously hasn't been in the water all that much. But very basic package. They got the Humminbird there at the dash, and then up front they moved the Lowrance. So basic beginner boat, 10 grand. I like the price. I think that's a great price for that boat. Let's see here. We got, oh boy, this one's got a brand new life jacket in the picture. All right, you guys. This boat looks to be unmolested, and they're saying less than 4 hours. I don't know. That's a lot of oxidization right there. They got the moon caps still, so that's a plus, but that carpet's immaculate. Prop looks really nice. Oh, they did put an anchor on it. That's a nice step. Yeah, we'll get into that in a minute, Daryl. But yeah, that's a nice example for 12.5 though. And as we move into the next models of boats, you'll see what I'm talking about why these boats are too high. Again, this boat should be 10 grand. Here's a Dallas, Georgia. Here's one under 10 grand. Let's look at it. 60 hours. Looks very unmolested there in the back end of the boat. Carpet looks great. I mean, everything looks good there. I don't know where the seats are, if he has them or whatnot, or the hubcaps, but $9,500 is a fair price. That is a good price. I'm gonna find one more, you guys, and then I'm gonna move on. What do we got? Let's see. That could be it for the heritages. All right, we're gonna move on. So the next one I got the anniversary, which could bring up multiples, but we're gonna just scroll through here real quick and see if I can find. There's one right there. So here's a 2022 in the cream color. Uh, I only know one guy that has this boat, and I haven't spoke to him in a long time since our tournament, so I don't know if he still has it or not. However, this boat looks like it's got some upgrades. It's got the Garmin 10-inch on a beat down flex mount at the bow. Comes with an Ultrex 80, which I agree with. I think anytime you can do the Ultrex or any long based trolling motor on this boat instead of a short footprint, you're going to do yourself a huge favor. They're saying this boat's got less than 10 hours on it. It looks very clean. He probably took the live scope off of it, but I'll tell you what, you guys, for that price, it's got that Humminbird 7 at the dash, the 10, the Ultrex, and 10 hours on the boat. For $14,500, that's a good deal. That's as high as I would go on one of these boats, though. But as high. This boat has the 50, so you got to think about that. And you guys, I wouldn't get caught up in anniversary edition, limited edition, heritage edition. These are all entry-level John boats, and I would do what you want to them and use them. They will hold their value somewhat, but the days of buying and selling for grossly over what you paid, I think, are ending or have ended. Okay, here's a different heritage that's down in, I think this down in Arkansas. This has two Helix 5s on it. 11.5, fair price. Fair price, I'm gonna say. You know, I see there that 8K at most. You know, you're right. You're not wrong. However, inflation and ease of buying boats now, as far as the financing aspect of it goes, changes the values greatly. And people don't, um, the values are all over the place. And I think that that's part of that is a problem. Things are overpriced, but they're overpriced because people are buying them. They're willing to overpay. Bass trackers are for dudes that can't afford, other boats. I don't know why it's a Kamala boat. I that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Um, Most of the people that bought these boats, I can assure you that I know didn't vote that direction. But uh, not everybody can afford a high dollar boat. I at the time I bought one. Um, yeah, they're all priced too much, but that's the way it is. It's either you buy one that you think's priced too much, or you go pay too much at Bass Pro Shop, Stephen. Right? It is a John boat. The Classic is a John boat. So anybody that says it's not is probably not really, doesn't really know what they're talking about. What can it do? I I don't know. Clearly, it probably will. If you're talking about like price John boats, it's going to beat it in price. Okay, so you go buy a Tracker Grizzly, or you go buy a Smoker Craft, or you go any aluminum boat is going to cost you 40% or more than that. So what's it going to do for you? It's going to save you a bunch of money if you want to get into boating. That's what I'm saying. That Jeff, that Classic boat that they just put out, the green one, they want $3,200 more than the red one for the same boat. There's something I didn't capture in the video when I did that. There is another difference, and it also isn't worth $3,200 extra. But the triangular foam pad on the front that in every other model was black, this one's camouflage. It's camo. So is that worth $3,200? No. Well, apparently, MP, you've run out of interesting things to say. So, all right, you guys. I never silence people on this channel, but that guy, I don't know. I mean, if you want to come pick a fight, go somewhere else. That's not why we're here. But thanks for playing. So I've taken whoever this MP was and I silenced him or whatever. I've never done that before. It's the first time. But uh, you know, there you go. So anyway, let's get back to why we're here. Uh, Overpriced boats, absolutely. Now, I don't think we're gonna see any more. There's a tracker for 8 grand. Okay, so this boat here, obviously, they got a little video. Let's see it run. He's got an HDS7, which is a nice entry level fish finder. Honestly, it's a very nice unit for a 7-inch. Uh, they at least know the realism that their boat retailed at 10 grand. Um, Sorry, I showed that dude. I didn't mean to. Uh, that's more like it, you guys. $8,600. That's a buy. That's a good deal right there if everything's in good shape. Now, I'm gonna move along. One more. So we're gonna move into the new ones. This is why the old. This is why the Heritage is overpriced right now. Anybody that's trying to sell their Heritage for more than 11 that doesn't come heavily equipped is probably going to have that boat in their driveway for a while based on the prices of the Classic XLs with the 50 horse. So here's one right off the bat, a 2020. It's been on the water 3 times, 3.9 hours on the motor, so they clearly know what they got. It's got the 50 horse. There we go. He's got vessel view, so it shows everything on there. I mean, this boat for 11.3, that's a buy. That's a good deal. That guy paid 12.5 ish for this boat, plus tax. So I would say that boat, if it has nothing wrong with it, is a great deal in this market. Um, well, you're right. Okay. Well, for you can't repower it. A new 40's $6,000 without controls. So for a 40 horse, that repowering isn't always the way to go unless you get the hull for free. um, I'm looking down here for some other options, and I'm okay. Here's an interesting boat, you guys. Here's a 160 with 129 hours on it. This is smaller than both uh, any of the classic models, smaller and narrower, and they want about the same price. So I don't think this is a good deal. This guy's going to sit on this boat until he drops it under 10 grand. Okay, here's a couple that have some stuff done to them. This is what I was looking for. All right, you got a Tracker Classic XL with a 50. It does have a spot lock power drive on it. So it does have a little more than the average package. Not a ton, though. 11.5, I'd say this boat's more 10.5. Now we got a 2023 here. It's got, so the guy bought the platinum warranty, it looks like. The guy thinks all of his electronics are only worth $500 apparently. He has dropped the price 2 grand. Um, I'll bet you could buy this boat off of that guy for 13.5 cash, and I would say that's a good deal. The 10-inch with the live scope, that package, even used, is close to $1,800, 2 grand. And yeah, for 13.5, I would buy that boat if I was in the market. I like the warranty potential there, and it's got all the goodies. So that boat's not bad. One more. This one here. Oh boy. So this guy here got the 25 horsepower motor, which obviously he lives in a controlled horsepower area. Otherwise, you would not do this. So for those of you in the like under 40 horsepower, under 25 horsepower lakes, here's an option. For 10 grand, a 23, and everything else looks very basic in stock. So this for a lot of people fits the mold. If you're on a horsepower restricted lake, that's, for 10 grand, that's not horrible. But look right here, you guys, there's two side by side. There's a black one. We haven't looked at a black one yet, but a 2020 with, oh, it's got the motor guide on it with the recessed foot pedal. I think Stephen Smith had one of these on his boat. Yeah, Sonny. Well, there you go. A low Scorpion with the 50 horse uh, wasn't wasn't free. I know that. Um, why did most of us buy these smaller aluminum boats? Convenience, money, and fitment in the garage for sure. Yeah, so yeah, Steven had the XI5, which is the model up from this. This one I don't believe offers spot lock, but don't quote me on that. I'm not big on the expertise of the Minn Kotas, or excuse me, the motor guides. um, so with that, Daryl previously earlier in this feed, he had a good point that know what to look for. Get underneath the boat, people. Look for rust spots. Look for any trailing leaks that are coming out of seams. You can also see this on the back of the boat. Let me find a back of the boat picture. Okay, so right here, if you guys can see my cursor, uh, you're going to want to look around where the transducers mount, where these buckles mount. Some of these buckles where they mount on these hooks, the grommets get crushed, and if water goes in and out of there, that's going to it's going to be kind of an issue down the road. It will tear up your aluminum. Of course, check out the prop. They're not giving props away. Props for these boats, though, can be bought very cheap for 50, 60 bucks on the low end to whatever you want to spend on the high end. Anybody overspending on a prop for this boat, though, is, in my opinion, wasting their money. They could put that money in the boat somewhere else. You could get a lot more bang for your buck doing something else to that boat for $300 to $600 more on a prop with a name on it. Honestly, I did a couple videos with different props, and it really doesn't do anything. So there's a lot of people out there that 1 mile an hour is going to get them very excited. uh, Talking hole shots in these boats, uh, that's like talking drag racing in Yugos. Yeah. So, and Daryl, you want to check, walk around on the boat, check the compartments, make sure they haven't gotten full of water. Like, water is the number one. It's funny that the thing sits in water, but water will destroy the inside. So, has the boat sat outside? Have rats chewed on the wires? Get underneath the dash. Make sure everything's intact. Make sure everything turns on. Things I wouldn't worry about that you can fix, like if a light is out, no problem. Bulbs are cheap, lights are cheap. I wouldn't worry about that. I would worry about the outboard, the integrity of the hull. Now, these electronics, you want to make sure they work because some of them some of people are going to buy these boats for what's on it too. So, does the $2,500 trolling motor work? Because if it doesn't, you're going to swallow that buying another one. These screens, when you get into the 9-inch and up, barring any sales, you're looking at $1,000 a pop and up for your fish finders. The live scope option, there again, $1,000 and up. So you want to make sure that this stuff works if you're buying the boat loaded like that. Does it have power poles on it? Does it have the anchor, the automatic anchor? All this stuff's easy enough to test. And, when you're talking about this kind of dollar amount, obviously do your best to meet the people and take this boat on the lake and lake test it. Buy them brand new. I don't sweat it nearly as much because they're going to take care of that kind of stuff brand new. But used, I would absolutely lake test it. And if they don't want to lake test it, it's probably not the boat for you. If the people are hemming and hawing about doing that, I wouldn't do business with them. Yeah, there again, rivets and stuff like that. Jeff, If it's just a matter of a loose rivet here and there, that's easy on the inside. On the outside, if you buy a riveted aluminum boat, I would definitely, anytime you buy a riveted aluminum boat, you want to look at every rivet and you'll see if there's any kind of oxidization or rust developing around it. That's bad. Okay, well, the welding issue. Okay, so I didn't have a welding issue. I put the wrong trolling motor on that boat, and so did everybody else. Anybody wants to argue about it, I'm right here. Those boats were never, and this is a whole video by itself, but after years and discussions with many people that had the same problem, not a handful, way more than a handful, uh, these boats were not designed to have a tiny footprint at the very forefront of that boat. Just wasn't designed for that. They were never uh, made to support something like that, nor the torque that anything over 55, 45-pound thrust can offer. So that's why I say anybody looking now, I wouldn't buy one that has a tiny footprint on the front of it. I wouldn't do it. I think it's the biggest mistake. I made that mistake. I'd be buying an Ultrex or the Lowrance or Garmin versions that have the lengthened base plate. And I would still do the smallest uh, thrust. Hey, Jim. Yeah, and so the other part of that crack deal is how most people don't use their boats like I did. They don't. And it's obvious in their hours listed. So the people that tended to have these issues, I believe, also were people that use their boat more than the average bear. So I don't. I just think it's a terrible idea, and the proof is in the pudding. Um, a lot. I had a guy in California reach out to me. We spoke several times about it. He had his boat in 2 or 3 different times to be rewelded before they just decided we're going to put a half-inch plate on the front of your boat. The whole that whole top piece became a half-inch piece of aluminum, not steel. But um, it wasn't designed for that kind of abuse, plain and simple. Um, if you want to do that, you've got to fortify it. And I don't know if it's by the time you get done screwing around with that, you should have just bought the Ultrex or a like model. I know there's a lot of Garmin fans. That's all I have on my boat, but I do have an Ultrex. What's up, Matt? Cheers, brother. Cheers. Water. Anything you can put over your Skag? No. um, Try not to hit the rocks with it. I Skags are they're an interesting deal. Yeah, I mean, okay, so if Jeff's talking about the boat's capabilities, it'll fish in 20-mile-an-hour water. You're just not going to have a whole bunch of control. And listen, it doesn't matter uh, what trolling motor you put on these boats. When the wind's blowing 20 miles an hour, spot lock ain't holding you there. It's a flat boat. It's just going to go. So, let's see here. Okay. Here's something else I would do if I was going to buy one of these used. There's this little panel down by where your feet go. This panel allows you to look at the guts of your live well. Not a big deal to take out. It's either 4 or 6 screws, I forget. Take that off and take a peek-see back in there. Um, a lot of people complain about water coming from this area. Well, some of these hoses aren't attached right, or they came off in transit, or bouncing around on their trailer. Things like that happen. I wouldn't be afraid to buy a boat where the hose came off as long as the water damage wasn't severe, or any water damage for that matter. This guy does have an extra gas tank, which is nice. That's a good boat. That's a good buy for 10 grand. Now, gas tank size. I never added another gas tank full time. I did put one in when Steven and I did the US Open because we did some long runs. Only one time did I change the tank in this boat when I did that. I brought a couple 2 gallons with me and used those maybe once or twice in a day, but I mean, I never really went more than 30, 40 miles away from home. And you can do that on 6 gallons in this. I do miss the 6 gallon deal. You know, fill up now would cost me about $18 up the street. A fill up on the other boats more like 160. So I do miss that value a lot. My next boat will be a Lund. Lunds are great boats. Um, Big up in the north. They love them for the walleyes. 2017 190 with a. Hey Michael, how do you like your boat? I hear a lot. I hear a lot of people. A lot of people have issues with the 190s, and but I never owned one, so I don't know. I gosh, when did I sell my boat? It's been about a year and a half ago, and I haven't seen it since. I thought maybe I'd see it around here somewhere, and I don't know if the guy bought it and never used it or sold it, or I have no idea. It's gone though. Excuse me. How did people do for Black Friday? What'd you guys buy? Anybody swoop up anything cool? I did not. I didn't buy anything on Cyber Monday either. Uh, to well, anything that I want to brag about. I did get some. I had some credit. I did get some stuff on a couple different sites, but nothing big. Just uh, terminal stuff. But I'll share that with you when it gets here. Wow. Crickets. Nobody bought anything on Black Friday this year or Cyber Monday. Okay. All right. You're right. There weren't any good deals. I wouldn't have either. Yeah, I mean, I, I didn't see any excitement. I saw a lot of 20% off stuff. But like I said, I did take advantage of some small stuff. Uh, I think though, I think we're in that era of where like the people that are watching this anyway that have been around for a little bit and they've had their boats for a while, they've pretty much got them figured out. We got fish finders on them, we got live scope, we got power poles or talons or whatever. Everybody's boats are kind of decked out. So then you find yourself looking at rods and reels and then tackle and then eventually after so much time you have a you have a good collection. So it really, for me, takes a lot of bargain to get me off the couch to go spend more money on fishing stuff. And it seems like in the last year, with the conglomerates sucking up the smaller companies, which good for the small companies selling and making all that money. That it's awesome on them, but the consumer uh, is getting that back in less deals. Carl's Bait and Tackle, I'm telling you, I know I've said this before, but they used to have deals all the time, and now it's sparse. And in fact, I canceled my membership. I said I was going to do it last video, and I did. Um, I kind of waited to see what they offered for the last week or two in the sales, and to pay money every year for the deals that used to be there that aren't there anymore, it just wasn't worth it. So I canceled. And I'm no longer subscribed to any fishing uh, sales company. I did, however, pick some stuff up from the Guggen place and the Six Sense place that I'm going to share with you guys when it gets here. I bought them at the same time. We'll see who shows up first. I know it, with this, the shipping's crazy right now for anything, so I'm not expecting anything till probably next week. You know something else? I went to Walmart last night uh, with the kid Tabitha and the kids to. We needed a few things, and I went to their fishing department and was blown away that there wasn't anything remotely related to Christmas sales going on in there or holiday, whatever you guys want to call them, holidays. Um, Jeff, that is. I wish more people would subscribe to what you just said. That a lot of the people that complain about the speed of their boats would benefit greatly from this philosophy of uh, do not take everything you own in your boat. A, you're not going to use the majority of it. B, if somebody were to be an ass and steal it from you, you're going to regret that forever. Uh, what else? This stuff gets damaged. If it gets moisture in it, your hooks are going to rust. There's all kinds of reasons not to keep all of your gear in your boat. Um, I used to, because I didn't have enough gear to even fill up the boat. But once I filled up the boat, I realized, like, what am I doing hauling around all this extra weight? And I started taking stuff out. And I've got it down to a point now where I only have tackle in that front coffin and a few in the back hatch. I leave one back hatch has my rain gear in it, One is fairly empty for my co-angler or whoever goes with me. And I got one coffin with rods and one with some emergency gear. Otherwise, that boat's, I have a ton of space to put stuff. Yeah, that Steven's a good example. Like behind him probably weighed more than 100 pounds of stuff that you're never going to use. So, um, on these smaller boats, I think it's good to simplify and have, if not everybody's got space and a garage and a place to put all this stuff, but when you do and you do develop a system, in a boat like a heritage size boat or a classic, you can absolutely put all kinds of stuff in there. But if you want some space and you don't want to fight it, a good sized tackle bag with 4 or 5 of those holders and different techniques. Honestly, you'd be surprised at how much stuff that you can put in one. Like, for instance, when I travel, I don't take more than a bag that big with 4 or 5 of those 3,700 size stowaways. And I mean, all of them have different stuff in them. It's not all crankbaits. When I consolidate, you got to share. You might have all my hard baits in one of them, all the jigs in one. Instead of having different jigs and different kinds, I might just throw a bunch in each box, because at the end of the day, especially if it's a tournament, you're going to bring $1,000 worth of stuff just to throw a black and blue jig all day. And I know everybody's going to say, well, that's not what I do. A lot of people get stuck throwing the same bait. The black and blue jig is just a metaphor. Hey, Steve. I missed the live chat in the garage too. It's 19 degrees, and B, I don't drink Fireball anymore. It's Christmas for sure, Matt. It's a little early to party, or I would. I do have physical therapy for my knee later today, and I don't know if that's going to work out. But no, you guys, I'm bringing back the lives. I think that I've got it figured out now the way I kind of want to do it. So that's coming back. The parties are coming back. Just the Fireball, I can't. The it's got too much sugar in it. Yeah, weight makes a huge difference. 100%. My nitro will do about 58 or 9 with just me in it, and the minute I put someone else in it, it'll do like 56. So I don't know. How did all you deer hunters do this year? I don't know how to do a backdrop. I'm not fancy like that. No, you guys, I'm gonna paint. I'm painting these walls. Here, we could do this backdrop. Should I put that right here? Is that better? No, I got all kinds of these. I got all kinds of stuff I want to do, but I want to paint this wall first. This whole house was painted this tan color when we bought it. Like, they went in and just painted the whole house the same color. I'm not huge on it. It's very neutral. I'd like to brighten it up a skosh. But no deer, you guys? I know Jeff hunts. I don't hunt, so I don't. I see the deer running around all over the place by my house. They didn't get shot because they're still running around. I want to interview Matt. Can I do it? Can I interview for a job? Have a good day, brother. Oh, while I'm on here, I want to look up this boat. Sonny Pruitt's boat. This low Scorpion. I have seen these boats before. You guys. No. That is a no. So, which model boat do you have on here? Sonny, do you have the one here? Let's build one. Let's. Oh. Build my boat. I'm curious. Okay, there's Jeff. What'd Jeff say? We put a big chunk. Yeah, I'm in the county for sure, but everybody's got private property out here, so they're not hunting. Uh, you can hunt down on the lake though, on all the core land, from what I understand. Uh-oh. The garbage man's here. Griffey's going crazy. I'm not going to worry about that right now, though. But I got this low Scorpion boat pulled up. I was just curious what motor Sonny's got on his boat. I want to add up. Let's make it like a Heritage and see what the price is. Gauge package. No. Ratcheting cover, yes. Minn Kota edge, rod rack. Boat dried, no. We got, I guess we'll accept the cookies. 2-bank charger, no. Gas tank, yes. Galvanized bunk trailer with swing tongue. Painted black, that's, okay, we'll leave that alone. Spare tire, no. All that's the same. Oh, and then so in a low boat, set up like a Bass Tracker Heritage with the 40 horse, you're going to pay that price. All right, Daryl, stay dry, stay warm, buddy. Good to see you. Now, I'm going to go back and put the 50 horse on it to emulate the... So you're going to pay 20 grand for the same thing as a classic XL. Oh, I know why they have their price. So, I have looked at all of these in the past, all the aluminum models, because so many people are like, well, this one's better. This one's better. Maybe, but the price is also greater. People don't understand why Bass Pro Shops model works so well. A, it's the Walmart of outdoor gear. And B, they're going to kill you with volume. They can offer stuff at a lower price because of volume. Lowe does not sell nearly as many boats. None of the other brands do. So volume. Better deal. The volume also brings better deals from your manufacturers that you use, like whoever it is, whether it be Minn Kota, Mercury, Garmin, Lowrance, whatever their deals are, volume gets them a lower price that passes on to you. Take it easy, Sonny. I don't know. Let's go look. This is the boat that Sonny has. I do not know, you guys, what it offers. Let's go look. It's got a live well and a bait bucket, it looks like. This might be the crappie pack. This might cost extra. I think that's in the crappie package. Uh, specs and features. Hold on. Oh, Griffey. I don't like their website at all. Rod locker. It does offer a very small rod locker, but a rod locker nonetheless, which a lot of us wish we had on our models. A lot of people built them in, but you know, another big comment that I get a lot. I'm gonna go back here. A lot of people, um, a lot of people are like, "Gosh, Trackers should have finally built the front deck on it." They're missing the point. The boat's cheap for a reason. There's a reason this boat's $5,000 to $10,000 cheaper than the other brands and their models. Okay, they didn't go the extra mile and finish the casting deck, but you can for way less than it is to upgrade to any other model. I don't care which one it is. Any other manufacturer's boat is going to be at least 3,000 and up more than that boat. So unless you build it out of titanium, you should be able to build an incredible casting deck for about $500 or less. Versatrack's a joke. I I don't know why people get excited about it. Um, you know, and then to go buy all their stuff when it's just a carriage bolt system, you don't need to buy their bolts and stuff. It's kind of um, I don't I don't believe that Versatrack's worth buying a boat for. I agree, Steve. Um, I do think though you can over upgrade. I do really believe that one can over upgrade one of these classic boats and basically put yourself outside of, you'll never sell it for what you think you want for it. Um, and performance is going to suffer. We've talked about it. Like now there's people putting power poles on them. I mean, if you go fish the flats and you don't care about speed or anything, do it. But if you're one of these people that is complaining already that it's not fast enough and then you throw that on the back, I can't help you. I don't think there's a conspiracy, Stephen. I think it's just supply and demand. Are you asking me, Stephen? I do tournament more. Um, a lot of people upgrade. Most people that I've seen in my time with this classic business, let's go back to the beginning of 2018. The majority of people that bought the boats that we bought, the number one complaint was size and speed. Even though every question I fielded back in the day was, I'm a big guy, is it big enough for me? Well, I'm a big guy and it was big enough for me. Uh, it's what you intend to do with it. Are you going to put more than two people on it regularly? Is speed something that is going to bother you? Because if it is, never look at the base model of anything. It's like going, you want to buy a sports car, are you going to go buy the four banger version or are you going to buy the V8 twin turbo? That's the and that's what you had, I think, is you had the V8 twin turbo people buying the four cylinder and then being disappointed that it didn't live up to their expectations of speed. Whole shot. Um, why did I upgrade? I upgraded big lakes, I needed to get to where I wanted to faster in groups of people, and I uh, I wanted more space. That's why I did it, just like everybody else. Um, However, I didn't hate my boat. I loved my boat. Misty, are you guys offering any specials on Shanka lures this holiday season? Um, Here's another one that one of our favorite or lack thereof YouTubers up in Springfield that just got a new boat deal after crowing on about how boats are too expensive. He he inks a deal with the most expensive aluminum boat in that size range. Uh, why was I going to talk about this? I don't know. I just forgot. Barking dogs. But boats, to upgrade, there are certain specifications that you have to fish in certain deals. If you want to fish in the BFLs, your boat has to have at least 150 horsepower. You can't show up and fish an MLF BFL on a Heritage. They won't let you. So that's that's a big deal. If you want to fish in the BFLs, that you're either going to be a co-angler, or if you want to use your own boat, it's got to have a 150. Now, that guy I'm talking about up in Springfield was like, I think I'm going to get a boat with a 115. Well, I think someone corrected him at some point, and he never brought it up because of that. Negative. I will never do a guide service as long as I'm tournament fishing. Ask myself why what? Um, I'm not really interested in the whole guiding thing. People tear up your stuff. They disrespect it. Uh, I think I would go crazy watching somebody beat on my boat if that wasn't me. I don't think there's any other reason than the majority of them are going to have 250s. So I would say if it were me, it would be a safety issue. Um, we saw this reared its ugly head at the U.S. Open when you had all the different boat manufacturers allowed to compete, and they had a blast off in Arizona that canceled the tournament. Okay, canceled it because 4 or 5 boats sank in the takeoff in the blast off. That's a fact. So um, I would say at the lower levels, you can do whatever you want. But just like anything else, as you step up in divisions, restrictions happen. It's no different than auto racing. So auto racing, you got to have certain things as you climb up in divisions. And when you get up to the BFL division, a Z18 is going to be on the small end of things anyway. The boat that I have, the majority of people, and I only know this because I've been to them, are rocking a 250 in a 20-foot boat. The majority at that level. So I would say that for me would make sense on the horsepower restriction. It's not a money thing. That doesn't matter. I think it's more of a more in the safety category because when they do these blast offs, man, it's chaos. And like when I was in my heritage at some of these things, dude, you kind of sit off to the side and wait. And these guys in these boats aren't sitting off to the side; they're taking off and they're dealing with whatever is in front of them, which is crazy sometimes. In the club tournaments and stuff, there's restrictions. You can't have more than a 250. Why is that? Why can't I have a 500? They make them. There's Bass Cat makes a boat with a 450 on it. I think. I mean, it's $130,000. You can buy one. Um, I don't. I think it's. I think that they just figured out in these levels of things, this is how it's got to be, and I don't disagree with it. I don't see a problem with it, um, at all. If you want to play in that division, you got to do this. Like, like I said, like auto racing. If you want to drive NASCAR, you have to adhere to these standards. Otherwise, you could go drive in a lower circuit and probably have different standards. Yeah, and I mean, in a club deal, I don't know minimum length. Yeah, I mean, there again, why is there a minimum length rule? Probably for safety, especially in a club deal where you're expected to have a co-angler, probably to give him a little room. I don't know. I would say it all goes back to hinges and tradition, or tradition and safety. You go back and you watch these bass tournaments from the 80s, and these guys were all fishing in boats that look like heritages, sort of, uh, very minimal. But as and this is where some of the people north of me get lost, is things just evolve. Everything gets bigger and faster, and there's it's no different than this stuff, right? Bigger, more memory, faster. We get sucked in and we buy it, and it's the standard. It's the same as our boats. That if you're somebody that fishes recreationally, you probably do not care about ever upgrading. But if you're someone that's doing the tournament thing and you want to evolve that way, it's your prerogative. It's your hobby. It's your money. Um, that's the way I see it. Um, as far as the guide service thing goes, a lot of that presents a problem in itself, Jeff, where a lot of tournament series will not let you fish them if you're a guide. That's another thing. I mean, that's not even close to the top of my level of why I wouldn't do it, but that is a thing. I think there should be a rule on how many rods you can have in your boat. How about that? You want to see how good people are? You get to bring two rods. How about that? You want to really put the heat on people to, like, I, there's a whole contingency, there's a whole Antifa group up in Springfield raising hell about forward facing sonar. You know, if they wanted to do tournaments the way they feel they should do it, they'd be in canoes with cane rods. That's the way it sounds when these people are barking up there. Yeah, I'd say that's a good price, Michael. Six. Yeah, I mean, there's people trying to sell boats with far less potential for more. So that's a good bargain on that. One rod. Yeah, one rod. Now there are some tournaments where they are limited like that, where they show up, they get no waypoints, they get no special graphs. You bring these many rods and this big of a tackle box. That's cool. I mean, not every tournament has to be like that, but those kind of gimmicks are cool. Why not mix it up and have different things? Um, I I don't think it's a bad idea. Um, what was I just hearing about? I was watching somebody the other day, and they were talking about live scope and how they're gonna do or not allow it in certain events and what they're gonna do about it. And apparently, there's a company making, I think it's Precision Sonar maybe, that's making covers that are gonna go over people's live scope that stop the transmission. I well, thank you, Michael. I appreciate you. Um, yeah, these live scope covers. I don't know. I mean, I'm not against tournament groups throwing in a weird tournament where they do that. Again, I'll compare it to golf. You know, golf does it to mix it up a little bit. They'll have a if you're in a men's club, they'll have tournaments where you just play from these tees, or a red, white, and blue tournament where you play from all the tees and you alternate, and all that does is mix it up. Now, um, I would not mess with that kind of stuff in the regular tournament series. But if you have an open, or you have a benefit, or you have one of these, a one-off tournament for your club, having one of these weird things, I think is okay. But if you're going to set up, you're going to say you're going to do a six tournaments series, whatever your rule system is, I don't care what you believe in, it needs to be consistent for that point race. Now, you could have a weird tournament in between that doesn't count for points where you do stuff like that and it's just for money. I think that's I think that's where it should go. Um, tournament there's there's a handful of channels out there, and I just don't think I want to do that. But I mean, they get a ton of views. It's all about views for them, uh, and clicks. So, but I don't think I'm going to go on the internet every day and talk about what the MLF or what Bass has done wrong. I don't know enough about it. I don't. I don't care to get that involved unless they want me involved. Um, the problem with, in my opinion, the problem with professional fishing is the anglers. There's too much darkness between the anglers and whoever runs the league. Doesn't matter which one. They're all got problems. But like every other sport, there needs to be representation for the athletes. Um, whether it be agents or unions or whatever, I think they should have a say. You shouldn't have a meeting behind the people's backs, institute a bunch of rules, and then one at a time deinstitute. Like, they made a bunch of rules and then got a bunch of backlash and then backpedaled. You could have killed that whole problem and had a meeting with all of your people at one of the events and said, "Hey, we're thinking about doing rule changes for next year. Let's vote. Let's have a vote." That would be the absolute best way to do it, is to put it up for a vote. We do that in our country every time we need to elect somebody, and some people bitch, some people don't, some people are happy with the outcome. But at least a voice was heard from one side, instead of a bunch of people in a building going, "Well, we think we should do this." And then, "Oh shit, look at what the public said. Oh gosh, look at what the anglers are mad. They're going over to a different division now." You could stop all this by being more inclusive with your membership. Okay? You got to be a member. Remember, you have to pay to fish. Not only do you pay an entry fee, but you pay a membership fee every year. So, yeah, they can have their rules and do whatever they want, but if you're touting this as a professional, the top echelon of everything, you need to be professional and not be so dark. Well, yeah. I mean, wouldn't that save the earth? I mean, every other day, this guy up in Springfield makes a video about how Table Rock Lake is just disappearing, and it's a terrible fishery, and it's awful. And okay, I disagree, because if you want to take the model that these people are saying are destroying these lakes, go on up 2 hours up north to Lake of the Ozarks, which people say is thriving. And that dock, or excuse me, that lake, there exists around 70,000 docks and properties and homes and just stuff everywhere. And it's got a flourishing fish population. So this guy's just clickbaiting, spewing this venom about growth, destroying Table Rock Lake. I, I just don't see it. I live here and I don't see it. I think the guy is just trying to yell into the microphone like me right now to get you to click on his video. And I've never done that, and maybe I should. Um, I just I don't know. To me there's a way to convey a message and information, and it's more of like we are the world thing, as opposed to an Antifa program that I feel like is what's going on. Because you'll see this particular person will belittle every single person that watches his channel. If you don't know this, or you don't know this person, you know nothing about bass fishing, and you should just turn this off, and you should just sell all your bass gear. Is that a positive way to convey a message? This kind of hate speak is astonishing to me, but the guy's numbers don't lie. You talk like that and people like to watch, apparently. He went from no subscribers a couple years ago to well over 100,000 and tens of thousands of view a video by spewing hate. It's interesting. It's interesting that people watch it and tolerate it. Um, I haven't been able to get through one of his videos in a long time. I don't know why I'm still subscribed. That tournament, Misty, would have to be in October for the only pink lure, I think. Um, right? I can tell you, I can tell you that YouTube money he's making definitely covers it. Um, just so I forget if I said anything about this before, but um, this is about how you got to look at it. 200,000 views in 28 days pays about $1,000 a month. Okay, so you can kind of figure that out uh, when you go look at some of these people's views and stuff. In the time that I've been doing this, I've been fortunate enough to have that happen one time. One time I made $1,000 in a month. Um, he's not protecting anything, Steven. All he's doing is screaming that it's all propaganda to get people to watch and get explosively pissed off. Uh, I can tell you from my experience, and my boat was aluminum and unpainted. When I took it out in the salt water, mind you, it was kind of brackish. I was in the Hudson River. Uh, I noticed when I got it home, which was by the time I left Manhattan and got back to the lake, we stopped and ate. It was about 2 hours. And I had these little tiny white spots. It looked like detergent balls all over the boat. They came off. It comes off fine, but the key here, any boat that's in salt water that you care about, flush it and wipe it down when you take it out of the water. Yeah, Stephen, you're right. I mean, I think I think it's more. I think this guy found a niche, and he's going to drive the nail until he can't see it anymore. Um, and he does. I mean, he has a lot of people that believe with him, but so does Antifa. Is it right? It's not right for me, but if somebody's way to spread their message is to get on and tell everybody else how stupid they are, I don't know. I don't. I just don't feel like that's for me. Well, I mean, they're okay. So now, Jeff, I do not have a problem with people putting out videos for views. That's what I mean. Obviously, that's his job now. Fishing doesn't pay. He makes a video twice a month about how fishing doesn't pay. So we know he's not making any money fishing. A, by his results, and B, by his content. His content will tell you. His name's Randy Blockett. And you cannot take away this guy's past. He's won 1 point something million dollars bass fishing in his career. That is astonishing. That's a lot of money. But the bulk of that was a long time ago. Um, is he washed up? I don't think fishermen are ever washed up. I think you can fish until you can't stand up. So washed up is a train of thought, I think. I think you become washed up when all you can do is complain about everybody else. Um, but like I said, I mean the guy's obviously a talented fisherman and obviously talented at conveying how pissed off he is about forward-facing sonar ruining bass fishing. Um, are more fish getting caught? Probably. They're regenerating though. That's a fact. And You know, a lot of people like to point, oh, these fish are deep. They're getting caught out deep. These same fish don't live on the banks, you guys. There's all what forward facing showed us was there are different fish in the lake. There are fish that live deep all the time. They just stay down there. There are fish that live under docks. They never leave there. And I'm not talking about little docks, you guys. I'm talking about commercial docks. Big, like that are an eighth of a mile long. And there are communities of fish that we never knew existed as a whole until we could see them. So now we're catching different fish. You know, that's the way I see it. Yeah, dude, Stephen, I love to compare golf and fishing all the time, but you know, until Tiger Woods, that's what golfers look like. They were all 300 pounds and out of shape. And then this guy came along that was like, "Hey, we got to do this. We got to preserve longevity. We need to work out." I don't. I'll tell you what, you guys. I'm gonna make a video probably this week about the greatest advice Randy Blockett's ever given me. So hang tight for that. But Randy, I'll tell you what, I got to give him props where props are due. So sit tight and wait for that video. It's going to be fantastic. I, you guys want to do a giveaway? I feel like giving something away. I wasn't going to do that. I wasn't even thinking about doing a giveaway. I just wanted to go live and talk about boats with you guys, and then it morphed into this. But uh, yeah, I think we should do a nice holiday giveaway. There's 8 of you online here right now. Well, no, I mean, Jeff, you're right. You're 100% right. If I wanted to have that many subscribers, I could have probably gotten there years ago by being an ass. Um, so far, I haven't been able to do it. Maybe I need to switch gears. I'm going to go get something. I'm going to give something away. Oh, it's on my ass. Give away my solar bats. Speaking of, ooh, there we are. Now we're in focus. Solar bats. Uh, I've never owned a pair. I don't know anything about them. Anybody tried solar bat sunglasses? Yeah, I don't know. I know that that dude up in Springfield is sponsored by him or in some fashion, but I don't know. Never worn the glasses. Oh, and he likes beef jerky too. He's sponsored by beef jerky. Uh, Costas are the best. Uh, Now, for those of you that don't know, I'm going to show you guys something. Hold on. The best deals on Costas by far, hands down, you guys. If you're Costa wearers, I'm going to get you to where we need to be. Now, there we go. We're going to, I'm only doing this, you guys. I know there's women on here too, but I'm going to the men's coupon offers. Get it fast, low to high. Okay. Costa del Mar. Okay. One second. Sorry. I had it. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to go back over to this split screen deal. This company right here, you guys, is called jomashop.com. This is the best deal on the planet, in my opinion, for legitimate Costa del Mar sunglasses. You go into any retailer right now, and these glasses are going to be considerably more than this. Now, the cheaper models are polycarbonate lenses, which are much lighter, but they tend to scratch, and that's anything. So if you're buying Oakley's, um, Oakley's are not glass lenses either. So it's about the same price point as an Oakley in the polycarbonate lens. Where you're going to see a difference in these glasses is in the glass, the 580G. So we'll go find a 580G that looks decent. All right, here's a pair of tail fins for 118 bucks with the bronze polarized. These are great for bass fishing. Absolutely great. For 118 bucks, you're not going to beat this price. You won't. Go look anywhere else. This Joma Shop place, I'm not sponsored by them, but this is where I buy my Costas. Let's see here. Here's a pair of, what do we got here? Tail fins. The fantail. I like the fantails. But these cat Ks, okay? These cat Ks this is a great price, even though these aren't glass. But this is a great pair of glasses for the money. Well, I, I lived in the desert where sunglasses were absolutely paramount. Just the sun was beating on you constantly on your eyes. So good sunglasses are key for your eyes. They are. If you wear shitty sunglasses, it does it for me. I can't wear them. I can't wear safety glasses as sunglasses. Um, I have to wear good glasses. Otherwise, I get like I don't know if I have astigmatism and it bothers my eyes, but anyway. if you're in the market for expensive sunglasses, this is the place, in my opinion. This is where I go uh, to save money. And you guys know I'm cheap. I will not overpay. Yeah, and there's also discounts, you know, but I believe this place right here for sunglasses, they do have Oakleys too. Let's see if you're into that. Um, Now, Under Armour sunglasses, I get a discount on. So I've been wearing those. Uh, they're not as good as my Costas, but the price is. I can get the Under Armour through their deal for it's about half off. So when they're on sale is when I really come up on them. I usually can get their polarized ANSI rated glasses that are unbreakable for about $40, which is cheap. But I do think for fishing sunglasses, Costas are the best. Um, but these Oakley 5 squared, these are $120 all day long. There's a price with the iridium lens. But if you don't care about polarized glasses, here's a pair of Oakleys for $60 that were 100. So there's a myriad of companies on here. So if glasses are your thing, or jewelry, fragrances, crap like that, it's a great website. Uh, yeah. I mean, I don't blame you, Jeff. I'm good on rods right now. I do. Yeah. So little story, Michael. I when I worked for Boeing, they had an amazing eye policy that every other year you got $400 towards glasses. This was back in the 90s, you guys, mid late 90s. And I didn't need glasses. My eyes were good. And this guy in my shop's like, "Mark, you're leaving this money on the table that we get for glasses every year." And I said, "Well, I don't really need glasses." And he's like, "Well, you can get sunglasses." And I said, "Okay." So I made an appointment and I went down to had my eyes checked, and they did that little deal where they blow the air in your eyes, and they're like, "Well, your vision's good." And I said, "Yeah, well, I'm in this big building all day and I walk out and it's bright." So anyway, the guy brings out these catalogs that look like phone books, and he's like, "You got $400, go crazy." And I bought two pair. I got a pair of these ridiculous Fendi sunglasses and then some Versace crazy gangster glasses. Um, they didn't have a deal with Oakley because at the time Oakley was kind of like my go-to, um, and they didn't have a deal with them. So I ended up with these fancy ass sunglasses for using my insurance. I didn't know that you could do that. I still don't know if it's right. Oh, Jeff. Wiley X. Yeah, go ahead, Michael. I say a lot of stuff in the short time I'm on here, so you got to remind me. Hello. Hello, Nemi. I'm waiting for Michael to ask the question about the trolling motor. I'm going to stay focused on that. I did not. I went with a Tarova 55 pound, and I did not upgrade the wiring. The wiring is sufficient. If I were to go to an 80, I would think about upgrading the wire. I would absolutely think about upgrading the wire if you went anything over a 55 pound. Yeah, dude, sunglasses are it's paramount that they fit, right? Um, I got a big head too, you guys. Uh, well, Steven's got a little head. I got big head. Um, so my frames are usually large, extra large, something bug eye, just to kind of make my face not look so big. I don't think so. I forgot you had a 190. I wouldn't go smaller than an 80 pound, Michael. I would go. I mean, if budget's not a thing, I would be looking at the depending on what kind of fish finders you have, would depend on what I would buy. But if you're a guy that's got the Garmin Live Scope, yes, I would absolutely say that it makes a factor, Jeff. 24 volt, you're increasing everything. So upsizing at that point would make sense as well. Okay, hey, dude, it's all a thing. It's a thing for me every single day. So, what is your budget, Michael? That would be, I get the question all the time about, what should I buy? Well, you could spend thousands or you could spend hundreds. It depends on your budget and your needs. On that boat, I would not go under. I would buy an Ultrex 80 is going to be your cheapest option with all the stuff. If you have Garmin's, you could step up. The Garmin's are about $300 off right now. You could probably find one for about $3,000 that would work for you. I don't know. On your boat, probably not very difficult. On the older, like my old boat, my Heritage, it was a pain because there's no clear path. So you would have to develop one. On your boat, I'm sure you could run it through your rod lockers. Well, yeah. So Jeff keeps bringing up the budget. I'm talking about ones that are loaded. Like I wouldn't put a budget trolling motor on your boat. I wouldn't do that. I would get one with spot lock. That's just me though. If you're gonna spend the money, if now if $2,500 is out of the budget, I would probably look at something. You could probably get something better than an Edge. I don't know what their lower models are right now, you guys. I haven't looked forever. Let's go for it. Just the Fortrex. So the Fortrex would be the next one. The 80-pound Fortrex is about $1,600. It does not offer all that digital capability, but it will get you the thrust that you require. An Ultrex is gonna cost you another $1,000. There's probably deals out there. You could put a Tarova on your boat. There are a lot of options. The Tarovas are going to run you for 24 volt 80. You're looking at anywhere from $2,200 to $2,700. So, I don't know. You know, that's the other thing. If you stay 12 volt, which you'd be looking, you're under, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't go under 80 pounds in that boat. 80 pounds in my boat feels like it's, yeah, I could use a little more. And mine's an 18-foot, 8-inch fiberglass boat with a 150. They are outrageous. That you're not wrong. Um, you're not. I think it is outrageous, but it depends on your needs. You know, do you want spot lock? Do you, if you don't care about spot lock and you just care about driving around, Jeff's not wrong. You could buy an Edge for way under $1,000, a 70-pound. Um, but like again, you know, it depends on your needs. I'm looking at an Edge right now. They go up to a 55-pound thrust at Bass Pro. They might have changed their designations, but yeah, 55-pound, 45 inches, $609. So I don't know. That's pretty cheap if you don't care about all the bells and whistles. I'm just going on here to see what let's see, Minn Kota motor guide. I'm going to take it to 80 pounds. By the way, once you get into the 80-pound range, it's 24 volts. So you're going to need at least, you're either going to need a 24 volt lithium single battery or two 12 volt AGMs or lithium, depending on how you want to do that. Now, on a lithium setup, for me, I would not go under 200 amp hours on my trolling motor. That's because I know how much I use. There are days where I go out there and on a tournament day at 8 hours, I'm on that trolling motor for 6 of it, balls to the wall. So, you will absolutely tax a normal battery system on an 80-pound motor on a boat that weighs that much in 6 hours if you're on 10 and you're flying the whole time. Now, if you're not doing that, it'll last for a couple days. Yeah, I mean, but in Michael Warren's case, he is. I don't know what he wants. So if he wants spot lock, there's cost. You know, if you just care about having a foot actuated trolling motor, yeah, you can definitely get your needs for under $1,000. What do you have on your boat right now? I mean, I don't know what came on those boats, but I'm assuming it's got to almost be a 24 volt system, right? Yeah, man, I would say that is not close to enough. Oh, I have not bought the boat. Okay. Okay. Buy the boat. If you buy this boat, um, I'd say use it and see what you think. Well, I mean, it's only a downside if you think it is. Yeah, that's where I'm at. We'll see. That's where I'm at, Jeff. Uh, you you'd be on it. You'd be having that thing. So a 45-pound trolling motor, just FYI, is what came on like these classic and heritage boats that are 16 foot 8 inches. Uh, I would say weigh half of what your boat does, if not more, less than half. And it would run that boat, I want to say at full speed, if I remember right, about 2.5 miles an hour. And that's with a normal load of gear on it. Um, and like Jeff said, it's not going to last all day on a 12-volt system. It will not. I've killed it. I know for a fact it won't. um, okay, if you've never owned a bass boat with a trolling motor, I think the best thing you could do if you really want this boat is to use it with that trolling motor, and then you'll know you're this that's the bottom of the barrel. That you can't buy one cheaper than that. So use that, get familiar with it, and then you'll kind of know what your needs might be. Do you need the ability to hit a button and have your boat sit there? Uh, it's very nice, but you don't have to have it. But I guess the difference is the minute you go into that realm, add $1,000 or more to the price of whatever you're looking at, because and it seems to be that's the way it's going. If you look at any of these bigger boats, they all are starting to have this stuff. Well, it depends on your fishing style. Are you are you just beelining down the bank, fan casting? Because you're going to use a ton more energy. Doesn't matter how big your boat is. If your foot is on it and it's going full speed, you don't get that much life out of it. Your amp hours and all of that stuff adjust for that. Like a lot, I've seen charts that show your amp hours balls to the wall, and then at medium, and it really shrinks if you're on 10 and you keep it down. So I would I would if that's the boat you want, I would buy the boat and use that trolling motor and then decide if you need more. If you need more, it's all in front of you because, like I said, that is the cheapest one. So it only goes up from there. It only gets better for you. No, you're good, Michael. Okay, his is a used. So here's the deal. All of these boats came with basic packages, until you get into the higher echelon boats. They do that for a reason. They come there to a location, to a tracker place, where they then get rigged. All this stuff comes in boxes and stuff. And the boat comes, and then they put that trolling motor on. They put that fish finder on. Some boats are more intricate than others in what they have to do at rigging. But when you buy a boat outside of like these heritage and these classics that are one and done, you don't get to choose really. They have made concessions in the lately on what you can do with them, but before you couldn't make any changes. Now on your boat, when somebody went in to buy that, they had the option to do upgrades. So when the boat showed up there, they could have had a new trolling motor put on. They would have taken that edge, not put it on, and given him credit for it. It would have been whatever, $400 store credit. It's the same deal. So when we bought our classics, everybody wanted new fish finders. They're like, why can't I have the fish finder I want ordered when I pick up the boat? Well, you could. But how you had to do that was you had to buy the boat, then buy the fish finder, and have them do it at rigging at an assumed cost. and then you would be able to, they would take your trade in, which that Lowrance fish finder, I want to say when I talked about this with them back in 18, I want to say the store credit on that fish finder was like $85. So, you know, it depends on how you want to do it. But yeah, that boat you would have had the option to do stuff with it delivery if you bought it new. Yeah, I mean, let's see. I'm on here. Let's go see what a Pro 190 comes with. Um, I would have guessed nothing smaller than a 70 or an 80 just due to its sheer size. Oh, where are we here? There's a Pro 190 with the 115. I thought you could put a 150 on a Pro 190. Evidently not. It's saying 125. So I was wrong there. Basic package comes with, their basic package on that boat comes with the Minn Kota Edge 12 volt 55 pound. So for those of you that have the 55 pound Tarova, it's the same thrust as that to compare. Now take that off a 16-foot 8 boat and put it on a, I believe, a 19-foot. How long is this boat? So the Pro 190 is 18 foot 7 inches, true length. I don't think it's enough gas. I think I would definitely put nothing less than an 80 pound on it. So your upgrade package, Misty, is kind of a falsity. That's not something Bass Pro offered. You bought that from a private dealer that added that. So that's different. That's not, they're doing that where you picked it up. It's not coming from the factory like that. Yeah, I mean, this is on their website right here. So let's see. What did a 24 model have on it? A 24 model had the same thing. So there's no difference between last year and this year. On the 190, they're giving you the 45-inch, 55-pound thrust on that boat. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. When you build my tracker, let's see if you have the option at building now. Let's go to the Build Your Own Bass Tracker Classic. This was not an option in the past, you guys. Okay, so for building your own, you add that motor. Next, you pick your color. You can have red or black still. And this is for a 2024, so they're saying limited availability. So these are about to be phased out. Yeah, your only options here are for a cover. A cover. That's it. That's all you can do to this boat. Factory. Now, when you take delivery, you can make all kinds of changes, but you're going to pay shop rate, and you're going to be at the mercy of their time schedule, their time frame of when they can do it. Let's go to their biggest one, the Pro 195. This one, I think you can put a 150 on. But their trolling motor that they're putting on this, okay, so this one you can choose, I believe. So let's do it. Let's build one. Let's build one and see what we get. We'll leave the 115 on it. Color, they got a white. They call it Starlight White. I would call that cream or tan. So let's go on. It's resale red. How about that? Next, we got options. Woven floor. Okay. If you live in a cold environment, I understand this flooring over carpet, but I'm telling you, if you live in the desert or where it gets hot, that stuff is going to suck. You're going to regret it. I wouldn't do this vinyl flooring unless all I did was catch bloody catfish. Removal of the port side console. Removable. So you can add a console. You can add a cover, and you can add brakes and a tandem axle of the trailer, and that is it. I guess you don't get that option. But the confusing thing here is it doesn't tell you what trolling motor it comes with. I didn't see it. Oh, okay, so their top of the line aluminum bass boat, okay, their most expensive one does come with the Maxim 24 volt 70-pound thrust. So that is in the aluminum boats. Now, if you go over to nitro boats, let's see what they're coming with these days. I don't know why they make you find a dealer. I think it's ridiculous. Until you're ready to buy, let's just pick one. It's ridiculous. Oh my gosh. Okay. Bass Pro Boating Centers. Here's something, if you've never bought a boat from Bass Pro Shops, anything tracker, nitro, they make it incredibly difficult to find stuff for their boats without calling these numbers. Okay? Just try it. Go look up tracker boat seats. You will find all kinds of knockoff stuff, but if you want their stuff, you have to go through them. And it's just like billions of questions about what color the carpet is. If you want the carpet for your boat, you got to call that number. So let's go shop boats for sale. All right. Here's a 20-foot XL Pro. I mean, standard issue tour boat minus any kind of poles. What are they putting on this boat? Standard features. So that boat's coming with Garmin stuff, 9 inches stock at that price. And it's coming with an Ultrex 36 volt, 112-pound thrust. That's stock on this boat at $72,000. Now, how this works, you guys, and I really didn't know until I started talking to these people a lot. So managers at stores will kind of select the inventory that you see on the floor. So it'll be a lot of generic colors like this one and generic packages on your boat. So here's another 20XL that's thousands less. Okay? Why? Why is this one now almost 10 grand less? 7 grand. Well, I'll tell you why. Because it comes with a Maxim instead. And I'm not seeing anything for graphs. Most of them will come with something really, really basic, but I'm not seeing it on here. So, big difference in price between these boats. Yeah, I mean, there's one right there. There's, like Steven said. But I have a hard time believing you don't see. So when you go look at these boats for sale, you're not seeing them with those trolling motors. So people are adapting. Even in the picture, it has an Ultrex on it. Okay, that's an Ultrex. So uh, I I think that they're, like Steven said, they're showing on the website. They're showing you the lowest price to get your attention, and then they beat you up with aftermarket stuff, and that's just the way it goes. It's no different than buying a car, you guys. You buy a car and then you want different rims and you want a stereo and you want a wing and you want a wrap and you want, it's the same thing. It's just a different toy. Yeah, I know you said that, but I'm not seeing it, Steven. I'm not in all the 2025s that I'm seeing. I'm not seeing the, unless people order them that way. I'm seeing Minn Kota still coming on them. That's what they're showing on the website. But um, I don't know. I've seen them. So the Rangers, they have a couple Rangers up in Springfield. One is all Lowrance stuff, and one is all Garmin stuff. I think I think you're gonna see, like you said, you're gonna see the listing be as cheap as possible with the option list being bigger. If if you go to anybody else, right? You go to Basscat, you have the option on what graphs and what trolling motors. You can actually do that when you're speccing the boat. On here, you don't get that option. I don't know, you know, they just don't. So nitro boats, brand new. Here's a Z17 2025. What is it? What does it come with? I don't even know. They're throwing a Minn Kota 55-pound edge on it. I think you can get whatever you want, Steven, on these boats. I don't think you're going to see them putting $3,000 motors on the aluminum series boats. I think they'll stay cheap, Minn Kota, bottom of the barrel. On these, I think you'll see more ability to put what you want on it. And it doesn't make any sense to me why they haven't made this like an a la carte deal. It only benefits them to let people have options at at delivery instead of getting the boat and then going, okay, I want all this stuff. year-end clearance boat, a brand new Z18. Now, I'd say that's a good price if, depending on what's in it. No, not a buyer at that price. If it doesn't have spot lock, I wouldn't touch it for 40 grand and up. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. Um, Steven's got the inside track, I guess, that they're going to switch over to all Garmin stuff. All that's going to do is increase the price of the boat, though. That price, so about a $500 to $1,000 price difference between the Ultrex and a Garmin trolling motor, and they don't make a crappy one. Their cheapest one without discounts is $3,300. I think right now you could get one for $3 grand, the entry level one. So, you know, there's gonna be people too that are brand specific that they don't care. They're like, I've used Minn Kota my whole life. I want Minn Kota. The Garmin and the Lowrance trolling motors in the grand scheme of things are very new in the industry. There's also a new one out that I don't know anything about that people are raving about, made by PowerPole. And like I said, I think it costs even more. It may be the most expensive trolling motor on the market. Oh my God, my spelling is horrendous, but it's gonna figure it out. Most expensive. Oh, Jesus. Most expensive trolling motor. Well, it says this Minn Kota Riptide. $6 grand. This power pole one right here. This power pole move is $5,000. Do you guys know anything about it? That's 5 large. Yeah. So a 45-inch one is $5,000. Is it? It's got a remote. I have no idea what that is. So it doesn't even offer a foot pedal at that price. I don't know, you guys. I would have to be heavily sponsored. No, Efren, I love my boat. I was just talking to a gentleman, though, that was asking a question about trolling motor. This would be a good question for you. Efren, you got a 190, don't you? A Tracker 190? Yeah, so Steven, that's exactly what I was saying is, so individual store managers get to kind of pick their inventory like that. So, you know, you might have a manager that's like, I love Lowrance, or one that loves Minn Kota, or one that loves Garmin, and they're gonna go heavy on that. You'll see that. And when you go to like the big store in Springfield where they have everything, they literally have a boat with one of everything on it. You'll see one with mixed gear on it. You'll see one with all Garmin, all Lowrance, all Minn Kota, all Humminbird. Okay. What trolling motor do you have on your boat, Efren? We just had this big discussion. He has a 190 that came with a 55, a Minn Kota 55, I think. uh, I would say that that's extremely underpowered. I would want to see 80 pounds minimum. Maybe you could share. What do you have on your boat? Since it's similar. Hey Rick, how you doing, brother? I'm doing all right, man. I'm just kicking it here in Branson. I'm waiting on Efren. Efren came with the 45. Okay, so how worthless was that for you? I gotta believe it didn't get out of its own way. Yeah, so I would say, and do you feel that 80's good enough, Efren? I don't know. Uh, what I do know about trolling motors is they are inherently expensive, and they got that way in 5 years. They were not this expensive. Demand became outrageous. People were willing to finance them, and that's kind of how things grew there. Worthless is not the word. Okay, I had one. I know what it'll do on a much smaller boat, so I know how disappointing it must have been. What's the problem at Parker? Parker's way smaller, right? Gosh, I haven't heard Parker Lake in a long time. I've been seeing some dudes catch some hammers. Do you know? Do you know Cole, the Vital Fishing? Efren, he's been slaying them at Saguaro, dude. Slaying. I think if I was in Arizona right now, I'd be spending my time at Roosevelt and Saguaro. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's that's how it. Honest. Oh, my bad. You're talking about the Parker Strip, not Park. Okay, different lake. My bad. Um, yeah, dude, that's the same way here. I go up to the dam by my house and I hit spot lock when the dam's running decent, and it'll keep me there, but I can't move forward. I can 80 pounds, an 80-pound thrust on a Z18 is the bare minimum I would have on that boat. It came with it, so that's what I'm going to use. When it comes time to upgrade, if I do that, um, I think I am going to buy the Garmin right now, unless I find a better deal on a Minn Kota. I replaced an MK Maximus. Yeah, there you go. Uh, I think that innovation, the Spotlock innovation, people were willing to grossly overpay for. Uh, but it was also a game changer for a lot of people, especially people that fish alone. That you could hit a button and kind of have some security while you dealt with whatever it was you were doing, whether you're fishing or something, anything that you wanted to just sit that boat there for a minute or a long time. Uh, yeah, I hated that place, Efren, until I figured it out. It took a while. It took a lot of hours on the road and driving back and forth before I figured out how to catch fish in that lake regularly. Roosevelt, I've never been skunked, but I've only been there 5 times. So I didn't really give myself a good shake to get skunked. Maybe if I know what would happen. Where are we at now? All right. Well, I'll tell you what, you guys. I think I'm going to get moving here. Um, Thank you guys very much for being here. If there's anything that you guys want to talk about or any topics you want me to talk about, go ahead and leave them below or in the comment section of the video. Just moving forward, I'm just going to pop on and go live until I have like a guest list. Uh, when I do these guest things and giveaways, I think that we will. I'll schedule those, but I will be popping online just to do it. Uh, when the weather's crappy, like today, I wanted to go fish today, but I have physical. Like I said, I got physical therapy at 3:30. By the time I get like doing anything, I got to get off the water, and it'll be anyway. It's just a rough day. Anyway. Rick, I was just in Washington uh, for just a short few days. But yeah, it absolutely. One of my best friends in life lives in Spokane and has a place on Coeur d'Alene. We might be able to make this a reality, Rick. I'd love to go bowling with you. 100%. But anyway, you guys, thank you very much for being here. Have a great day, and I'll see you real soon. Take it easy.